Shalom, Akim. I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who teach and rule well. And salutation to all the Akim on four corners of earth who's pushing the truth of sincerity. Shalom, Akim. So, Akim, I want to get into this article here. It talked about a week ago, they talked about how the shrimp, is the shrimp is no good. It's imported from Indonesia. And when you think about it, I used to live in the southern states, and down there on that Gulf, they bring in their own fish. I never could understand why when I go to the stores, these Walmarts and stuff, they claim to be so patriotic American, and then they get their product from somewhere else in the world, man. So I always questioned that. Why would they do that? But it's the cost. It's all the cost factor. Plays a big part in it. But yeah, they're being cheap. And and in the long run, it's jacking them up, man. Getting that stuff from getting food products from other parts of the world, man. You messing up your own economy in the long run when you think about it. Like I say, down in them southern states, they fish and stuff. They have their own fishermen, but they're telling they're getting the product from other parts of the world, man. Indonesia here in this case, man. And I remember back in the day, you would hear about the Vietnamese shrimp farms and these different farms and stuff they're getting this food from, and I always question why, but it's part of the cost. But guess what? It's biting them in their butt because now they had to do a recall on that stuff, man. A recall on that shrimp. And then when you think about it, think about all the oil spills and the different oils and gases they've unleashed into the oceans and stuff, man. So it's affecting their natural habitat is being jacked up. And another thing what's gonna be messed up is because the shrimp play a huge part in the different ecosystems of the food for the different fish down there, like whether it be the big whales that eat a lot of fish. Eat a lot of shrimp. They all gonna be messed up. So it's Esau be jacking shit up, man, in the long run. He be jacking shit up, man. All for a profit, man. And then he'll try to do something to clean it up, and it jacks up everything in the long run even more. But anyway it goes, you're not supposed to be just eating shrimp. We're holy people, the Lord made us different, man, and set us aside from these people, and but we choose to eat what they do and do what they do, and in the long run we're going off as a people, as a nation. This is Deuteronomy 14:3, thou shalt not eat any abominable thing, man. When we try to tell our people that the shrimp, the lobster, the crabs, those are abominable meats, man. Those are bottom feeders. Our Lord made these things, and they have a job to do. Just like a pig has a job to do on a farm. Bottom feeders have a job to do at the bottom of the ocean. They eat the things that fall to the bottom of the ocean. They eat the carcasses of the different fishes and stuff like that, man. But our people, they want to eat those things. They put a price tag on it and throw it in everything. Chicken, shrimp Alfredo, lobster Alfredo. They got a name for everything, and people go nuts. They'll pay the how high for that abominable foods they're eating, man. And then wonder why meningitis and other diseases are running rampant in their body, and they try to blame it on it's in our family, it runs in our family DNA, and with all sorts of crazy shit, man. But yeah, our food. You shouldn't be eating these abominable foods, but at the same time, some things that we eat, like for instance, once again, pig, porcelain is indebted in everything you eat, man, or touch, Ezekiel 4:13, and the Lord, I want to go back. Let me go back. I want to go back to Deuteronomy 14, and I'm going to go up to 2. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power, And the Lord hath chosen thee to be peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth, man. So we're not equal to these heathens. The Lord said we are better than them, we're greater than them, but we choose to indulge in their weak diets, man. Heathens eat everything and anything, man. Certain parts of of cows and animals, we don't you don't eat the whole thing. And heathens, they'll do that, man. They'll do that. They don't have any regard in what they're putting in their bodies, man. They don't care. But the Lord said we were peculiar people to him, above all the nations that are on the earth, man. Not equal, not trying to be the same, but we are above all of the nations on the earth, man. So we shouldn't be taking on their customs, man. You Israelites are going off, man. Just because you live amongst the heathen don't mean you have to do what the heathen do, Try your hardest not to do it, because it's hard, it's rough, Stay away from jails and shit. Don't get locked up, because when you get locked up, they gonna feed you whatever they got, man. And you gotta survive. You gotta eat that shit, man. But you don't eat. You just stay away from those abominable foods at all costs. Let me bring up this Ezekiel 4:13, and the Lord said, "Even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them." So yeah, man. Once again, our food is defiled, and we are in these different countries amongst these heathen, whether it be slavery or working amongst them, So just keep in mind, don't do what the heathen do, man. Stay far clear away from them, man. And once again, these products, the shrimp, you don't have to get your shrimp from Indonesia or China or Vietnam, but America is wicked, and they want you to, it's all about the dollar, man, because they have shrimp boats and everything down in those golf courts, in those golf ports down there, but they'll rather import their shrimp from other parts of the world. And once again, a lot of these places that they're importing from, they don't have the regulations we have here in America, so they'll allow anything in, Not saying that America's regulations aren't helping you either, they're killing too as well. But, they do have a food standard that they claim is good, but it's like all actuality, it's good for the hospitals, it's good for business. Once again, America's a big corporation, man. It's all about one hand washing the other hand, in this wicked place, man. The food industry and the hospitals go hand in hand here in America, Food is supposed to heal you and make you feel better, but here in America, it does the opposite to you. It kills you, This is why we need deliverance out of this place, man. This is Isaiah 55:6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. So, you Israelites all the way, love to say that, these ways are too grievous or too hard. I don't want to change my diet. Man, you're going to die in that wicked diet, man. Don't blame anybody but yourself, man. You're falling for the snares of this wicked man. And all he's about is $1, man, and his wicked technology. He wants you to eat laboratory-made food, man. Come on, man. Bill Gates is not playing out here, man. They have all sorts of ways to destroy your body, your psyche, and your mind, your soul, everything, man. This devil's not playing, man. But at the end of the day, man, stay away from these shrimp, stay away from these abominable foods. That's the name of the game, because Esau is out here poisoning that shit, and then he's putting poison on the plate and trying to charge you the high for it, man. That's the way this devil operates, though. But at the end of the day, I hope this is edifying. And shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom, Akim.